The retirement savings crisis. Why more Americans can't afford to stop working. Theresa Edwards thought these would be her golden years. Instead, she gets up at dawn to crisscross Los Angeles by bus to work as a caregiver. Waiting at home at the end of a long day is her last patient, Edwards' husband of 55 years, who is recovering from a serious car accident. Edwards started caring for others at the age of 18 when her grandmother had Alzheimer's disease. At 74, she tires more easily. Sometimes she has to stop and catch her breath. But taking a break isn't an option. Every dollar counts. Edwards doesn't buy new clothes or get her nails done. She has no credit cards and deposits every cent she doesn't spend on bills in a savings account. Still, she barely clears enough each month to cover groceries, utilities, and the $1,500 rent on her two-bedroom apartment, where her 4 grandchildren and 9-year-old German Shepherd, Duchess, also live. "I bless Jesus and God for me to be as strong as I am at this age," she said. "Sometimes I wish I could stop working, but the way life is going, I'm not sure I can." Retirement is increasingly becoming a luxury many American workers cannot afford. With rising housing costs and medical expenses, and without the pensions that buoyed previous generations, millions of older Americans can't stop working. Social Security, which pays less than half of average wages and faces possible benefits cuts, doesn't stretch far enough, and many older Americans have too little stowed away in savings or 400 a month accounts to get by. In fact, only about half of American households have retirement accounts, according to the Federal Survey of Consumer Finances. For decades, the combination of pensions, defined benefit plans, and Social Security made a dignified retirement possible for many. Not today. Research from labor economist and professor at the New School for Social Research Teresa Ghilarducci shows just 10% of Americans between the ages of 62 and 70 who are retired are financially stable. Most older Americans either are retired and live below the standard of living they had when they were working, or they can't afford to stop working, according to data Ghilarducci analyzed from the University of Michigan's Health and Retirement Survey. 1 in 2 people reaching retirement won't have enough, and 1 in 4 seniors are in poverty measured by international standards, Ghilarducci said. The retirement savings crisis in the United States is no longer looming. It is here now, reads the first sentence in a recent report from the National Institute on Retirement Security. "We're far from where we need to be," said Dan Doonan, executive director of the National Institute on Retirement Security, and one of the report's authors. Older Americans like Robin DeLucia face a frightening and once unthinkable prospect. They will be poor for the first time in their lives. DeLucia, who has been working since she was 14, retired on her 70th birthday. But she said she couldn't stay retired. After taking a 2-month car camping trip to New York with her 10-year-old dog, midnight, she returned home to Sarasota, Florida, to look for work. "It's the only way I can afford to keep living," she said. To live on Social Security alone nowadays is an absolute joke, especially in Florida. For much of her life, DeLucia lived comfortably. She worked as a real estate agent, loan officer, and mortgage processor before owning her own marketing business. Then her deteriorating health made it impossible to work full-time. Over the last 20 years, she has had 15 surgeries. For a time, DeLucia got by on credit cards until she couldn't keep up with the payments and had to file for bankruptcy. She owes $18,000 on a car that appraises for a quarter of that. She used to be a homeowner. Now she lives temporarily in a she shed behind her daughter's home. DeLucia wants to start a Facebook page for people 62 and older and a nonprofit that serves as a housing connection, matching older Americans who need help paying rent or the mortgage with those who need a place to live. "I never imagined I would be in this situation," she said.